Check, check, check. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Do we have audio, folks? Do we have audio? If so, I'll have to do this intro all over again. Just give me a thumbs up or yes in the chat. Hopefully, it's not too loud. Just crackling, breathing. Is it better now? It's good now? Okay. It might have been a bad connection on my end. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's restart this, shall we? Let's hope that the next year is not going to be like this particular podcast. Anyway, it's Boom Boom Kaboom. Noof Nukem is in the room. Yes, Gaming After Dark is not going down tonight. I'm here doing a bit of a solo show for you guys just because I wanted to come hang out for, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I think Dreadpool is stopping by here shortly just to say hello and catch up on all things. Hopefully, everybody is well. I hope that you all had a fantastic Christmas or holiday season with your family and your friends. It's been kind of nuts up here north of the border. A lot of people coming down with COVID now and getting tested and positive. We had some people at my workplace that are no longer with us for the rest of the week. They're waiting for results and stuff to come back. It's been an absolute gong show. If you didn't know, I don't know if you're up on the whole hockey scene, probably not. But the World Junior Hockey Championships are taking place up here in Edmonton, Alberta, and Red Deer, Alberta. I got to go to a game on Boxing Day, Canada versus the Czech Republic. The whole thing, though, is it's kind of weird. It's nice to get back inside of a big stadium again to an actual event. But, there was probably like 5,000 fans, maybe 7 at best, in a capacity stadium that's just under 19,000. And normally these events are packed, especially when the home team is playing. So that's that's crazy. Conrad says best part of Christmas was when everybody left. Yeah, you know what? But cherish them. You know what? Despite sometimes the fact that our relatives can be obnoxious and annoying, the fact that for the first year, like we're actually able to have, family and friends over, at least for the most part, to some degree. So, yeah. And did I see? Yes, USA had 2 positives and had to cancel today's game. It's been an absolute gong show when it comes to the hockey scene up here right now. So. Let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat. I can't believe there's already 14 people here, and this is not even a scheduled podcast. This is me just shooting the breeze I did a couple weeks ago. Dizzy Delta, first in the house, sent me a message on Twitter and said, yeah, I'll come out. So good to see you. My good friend Assassin Lupus hanging out with us as well. Gone Mad is here. I see Draven Narrow, good friend of the show. John 907, saw you in the RDX chat. Shout out to RDX, their amazing panel of Dealer, D-Batch, Zalker, Tim Dog, Fonzarelli. You guys are awesome. I think I got everybody there. I think. But anyway, shout out to the RDX guys. They're awesome. Got a chance to catch up with most of that podcast, or at least the tail end of it. So good stuff right there. Who else we got in the house tonight? Crazy Greek Dude. Yes, my Halo friend is online and in the house. Good to see you here as well. And we got Eternal Shaddai, my brother from Good Morning Xbox, is in the house. Good to see a Shaddai in the house. What's going on? Kylo Milo is here hanging out with us as well. Good to see you. Dark Zone E2525. What's happening? All that stuff. Yeah, so there you go. Another rematch for Halo Infinite. Absolutely. RDX is a great bunch of people over there. Love their show. I could only wish to be half as successful as those guys. They're killing it right now. Heck, I'd be really happy with 100 some night, or 100 consistently would be a nice little goal. That's one of those small life goals, as you say. But a shout out to my Gaming After Dark panel members, Titan Drago and Middle Age Game Guy. I wasn't planning to be here tonight, so don't hold them up for anything. This was not scheduled, so just wanted to do an impromptu kind of deal. And shout out to Toolman55. What's happening? Dreadpool, I see him in the chat. I have sent him a link, so he might be joining me here momentarily. Me and Dread were playing some Halo last night, having an absolute blast. My Lord, we were playing some great games. And yeah, we're having a blast on Halo. I've had a lot of good games on Halo recently. We had one game last night, though. We were playing SWAT, and this one guy, apparently he was on his PC, and I don't know if he was cheating or he's just a crack shot, but he finished the game. I think he had about almost 3 times as many kills as the next closest person, and his accuracy was under 25%, I think. My accuracy was 44%, 42 or 45. I forget exactly what was wrong. Well, mine was nearly double his accuracy, and yet somehow he was getting all these headshots with his miserable accuracy and was just taking us down like every shot. It was just like he didn't miss. If you didn't somehow catch him looking the wrong way, you were automatically gone. Like, I'm pretty good at SWAT. Dreadpool is pretty damn good at SWAT. And like, there's times when I'll just miss. I'll put off 4 or 5 shots on, trying to get a headshot. And this guy was just absolute. Yeah, that damn pink mist needler gun. God darn it. Joe Dunmore was in the house. What's going on, Joe? Good to see you here, brother. But anyway, enough about that. We had a good time. Bottom line, we had a good time. I sent the guy a message, and I don't do this very often, but I sent the guy a message afterwards, and I said, dude, that was complete bull BS. Okay? Yeah, it was complete bull BS. Our whole team was pretty damn good. And he literally, like, even on his own team, he carried the whole team. And he was like above and beyond anybody else. Like, you kind of start asking yourself, who's that good that they're not missing a shot? Like, it's just every time they turn a corner. And it's like he was waiting for you. Everywhere you went, he'd be like, boom, boom, boom. But anyway, I digress. We had a good time. And that's all it is. You're going to run into games like that. You're going to have some great games. You're going to have some turd games. But you know what? Where it's at with Halo is playing private matches with your friends. Oh, it's so good. We had an absolute blast the other night. I know last week there, I think it was last Thursday, we were playing a bunch of games with Mike Mullis and company, our friends over at the Next Level Gaming Podcast, and that was an absolute blast. Monsters in the house. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. So yeah, but anyway, let's get into some of the topics and a few different things. And tonight is a great opportunity if you want to ask me any particular questions, certain things about the channel, that sort of stuff. So, like I said, I had a pretty good 2021 was a pretty good year. I had some ups and downs. Financially, it's been a really rough year for me, and I don't know why. It's just one of those things where I just can't seem to get ahead of the game. Always kind of behind, which is part of the reason I sold my PlayStation 5 back in the summer. It wasn't because I didn't like it, just because I needed the cash. I had so many bills to try to get caught up on that I kind of sold it, got a bit of money, and paid off those bills with it. So it is what it is. I plan to get a PlayStation 5 again sometime in the future, hopefully when they're, readily available and I don't have to go through the rigmarole of either waiting constantly online or standing outside a store waiting for the damn UPS guys to show up. You know what I mean? So what's going on? Yes, said Baez. Good to see you in the chat. Yeah, so financial, but everything else has been good. I mean, I did go out and buy a motorcycle for myself this past summer. Many of you saw my pictures on my Twitter feed, and that was just amazing. Best purchase I've made in my life, I'd say so far. I've just loved it so much. I never thought I'd like riding a motorcycle, but it's hard to explain why. It just was so much fun this year and learning the process of it. And, it definitely, riding a motorcycle is quite a bit different than driving a car. You're so in tune with your surroundings, or at least, you should be. Because every person that basically passes you by in a motorcycle is a potential life-threatening injury. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a mystery. Then I remember I have a wife and kid and spend my paycheck. Yeah, man, my shout out to all you guys who are parents. I don't know how you do it. I don't have kids. Me and my wife were not fortunate enough. We had miscarriages and the kind of ball is passed. We're kind of getting up in age, and I don't think that's happening for us. So, so shout out to all you guys out there, working jobs, trying to feed your kids, and then still trying to find time, or most importantly, the money to game. It's insane. That's where Game Pass came in. And you guys know that I must be hard up for cash if I'm going out and getting Game Pass. I think Alupa, Dreadpool, you could definitely attest to that in the chat, because you guys all know how much of a, how I wouldn't say not a Game Pass hater by any means. I never did hate it from day one, but certainly someone that's a physical connoisseur who likes to, Crazy Louie's in the house. What's going on, Crazy Louie? There's a great guy of infinite positivity. See Crazy Louie all over my Twitter feeds in the mornings, welcoming everybody. Send out those great messages of positivity. Look forward to Crazy Louie coming on this podcast in the near future. Definitely look forward to having officially on the podcast as a guest and a visitor. That'll be great. But don't feel sorry for me, guys. It's been a good year too. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's just one of those things. I mean, health-wise, I wish I was better. A couple months back, I went back and played a game of hockey, and about a week or so later, my back's been basically messed up now for the best part of it's got to be at least 2 months now. It's crazy. So my back's been kind of messed up. I have a hard time standing or walking any length of time. I have to sit down a lot. Been getting my cortisone injections, all that sort of stuff, trying to hopefully, and it seems to be some kind of nerve issue. Lack of feeling in my legs, and then sort of like spasms that go through. It was crazy. How old am I? I am 45 years old, going to turn 46 next summer, my friend. So I am getting up in the years. Like I said, that's the problem when you get older, is because your brain still tells you that you're like 20 years old, but your body, well, it lets you know differently usually after you've been out and had played some sports and stuff. Oh, Rob, there's the Halo man himself in the house. Good to see you, my friend. But yeah, Game Pass has been a lifesaver. But you know what? Besides the value, it's just been amazing. I mean, Game Pass is filled with so many incredible games. It's not even funny. Not even funny. I think they're hovering at what, close to 500 games or something right now. So, Xbox is killing it with that, and I'm grateful to have it. It's been amazing. Shout out to Casket Repair. Don't know if I'll see him in the chat, but Casket's amazing guy. Right out of the blue, he sent me an extra 3 months code the other day, and certainly wasn't asking for one. I hadn't even said anything. He just up out of the blue, he sends me a code. As a matter of fact, he ended up sending me 2 codes, 2 3-month codes. So here's what's going to happen. He sent me a code. Because obviously he thought, here's an extension, whatever, just being a nice guy that Casket Repair is. But it was a US code, so it could only be redeemed in the US. So here's what's going to happen. That code, if anybody's interested, I'm going to give it away this weekend on Sunday during Good Morning Xbox. I'm going to give away that 3-month code for somebody, hopefully that can use it. We'll figure out how we're going to do that on Sunday. And the other code, I guess I'll keep for myself. It'll be a 3-month extension, and hopefully my financial situation will change a little bit in 2022. That's my goal. My also goal is to get in really good shape next year. Not the round beach ball style shape that I've basically been in for the better part of most of my life. I actually, I want to get off 60, 70 pounds off of this frame and start living healthier and start looking good and feeling good, most importantly. I want to be a little bit lighter when I jump back on that motorcycle. So I've got a few months to kind of get my act in gear. So I got a farting competition for the go. That'd be great. Yeah, whoever can cut the biggest live fart on the air is going to win Game Pass. Or should we call it Game Ass at that point? I don't know. That'd be funny. Yes, the Gunk. I had a chance to play that. The Gunk is actually pretty good. Anybody else have a chance to play the Gunk and enjoying it? It's not the greatest game in the world, but it has tons of potential. It's very whimsical. It's got a nice little art style. It's it's different and it's kind of fun. It's not crazy. What kind of a motorcycle did I get, Mr. Crazy Louie? I went out and bought myself his first motorcycle ever, a brand new 2021 Kawasaki Z650. So it's a naked sport bike with more of an upright seat styling, and it's an amazing little bike. It's a little parallel twin. So bottom line is she's got plenty of torque and lots of get up and go, but she's not going to win any long haul drag races down on the strip. At best she might be able to click at 200 kilometers an hour, which I think is what in miles per hour, about 145 miles per hour or something like that, perhaps. I forget what the translation is. So yeah, I would give the Gunk probably at least a 7. It would have been cool if I had a little bit more of an action to it, as opposed to kind of wandering around and sucking up all the goop and moving on to the next. You got an 07 Fat Boy. Very nice. Harley Davidson. Correct? Is it Harley Davidson? Or am I thinking about something else on the Fat Boy? The Fat Bob. Is it the Fat Bob and the Harley Davidson? That's a pretty cool bike. My buddy has, I think it's a, what's he got? A sport glide, something like that. So yeah, man, biking is cool. I love it. It's good stuff. Let's see here. Dread's still not here yet. Like I said, guys, you got any questions in the chat? Now is a great time to ask them. I'm here for a little while. I can answer certain things. You got questions about the channel. You got questions about my guests. First of all, like I said, no gaming after dark tonight. Not an official podcast. The boys needed to take a break, and they said we'll come back in the new year. And I wasn't planning to do this tonight. I said, I'll just go and do whatever. But I just had that, that urge to just sit down and hey, see if anybody shows up. Here you are, 22 beautiful people all hanging out with me. That's crazy. Jay the Destroyer, thank you for that. Yes, wishing you a great 2022 as well. So some plans, like I said, for the channel. First and foremost, going to get more great guests on in 2022. A lot of you guys that are going to be on the show are in the chat right now. Can't wait to have Assassin Lupa back on the show. Crazy Louie, I'm sure I'll get you here. Anybody else that's interested, if you've never even been on a podcast before, feel free. Hey, hit me up. Send me a message. You'd be surprised at how many people I've had on my podcast that have never done podcasting before, and now they've gone on to either become a panel member or host their own shows and killing it, doing a great job. Eternal Shaddai is in the chat. He is a member of Good Morning Xbox. So Good Morning Xbox is going to be our this Sunday morning. It would be January 2nd at 9 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have a great show. It's going to be our first of 2022. Plus, we've got a very big guest you don't want to miss out on. We're going to have a great conversation. I'm referring to the man that was formerly known as Xbox Pope. We now know him as Pope Art. He has made some of the best, craziest, amazing designs of Xbox consoles and controllers I have ever seen in my life. We can't wait to have him on the show. That is going to be dynamite. You don't want to miss this one. He's a great guy. He's a phenomenal guest, and I can't wait to dive in and pick his brain about how he comes up with a lot of these amazing ideas. World-renowned art. Mike, he is affiliated with a lot of different companies, but he has commissioned work from Microsoft. You name it. He's basically done a lot of stuff, and he's worked for some amazing companies. So definitely looking forward to having Pope Art on the show this Sunday. Good Morning Xbox. Plus, I finally subscribed to StreamYard. I finally subscribed to StreamYard, so I'm trying to figure out the ins and outs of this whole program, how it works, and how it's going to benefit me now that I'm a paid member. And one benefit is now I no longer have to have a panel of only 6. I can actually have more than 6 should I need. That means I don't have to bounce panel members out of the show to get somebody back in and all that sort of stuff. So that's going to be amazing. Speaking of amazing, my friend and fellow podcaster extraordinaire and a great guy to play some Halo with is Dreadpool, who sent me out the invitation last night. Dread, how are you, man? Glad you could pop by and honor us with your presence here.
Well, sorry I'm late. I didn't expect to hit as many lights as I did, but you know what? I'm home now from work.
Oh, I hear something cold.
One of those times, right?
Yeah.
It's actually soda.
Oh.
But anyway,
soda's good too.
Hey, it's one of those things, right? No, but it's always a pleasure when we all play together as fans of a game, as teammates, as friends, and like you were mentioning earlier. I mean, we were smoking them left and right. I actually had a match I posted on Twitter that I didn't get a chance to last night. I posted on Twitter. It was just myself and another rando. The other 2 randos bounced out, and the 2 of us carried the team, and it was just nobody filled in. I guess we were doing so good that 343 didn't bring anybody in. We didn't have any bots, and we actually won, just the 2 of us. So it's funny how one guy could be that good that he carries the team and then some.
Yeah. That one game in particular, I call BS. I don't normally do this, as I said, but I sent him a message, and all I said was, "Dude, that was some BS." I don't like. That's all I could say to him. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but something don't add up. Like, I never seen anybody that's that crack. Well, that's the funny thing. He's that crack shot accurate, but if you saw my accuracy was nearly double his, but yet he was like every time he shot, it was like instantly hit.
He already knew where you were. He'd pop out and he'd hit you.
Yeah. I think most of the times I killed him, he was just facing in the wrong direction, probably aiming at somebody else. But it was just kind of nuts. You're kind of like, yeah, the rest of your team's like felt like our team, we're doing good, but not destroying it. This guy was just rolling away. And of course I checked him out, and he's on the PC. So it brings up some questions, not saying, that maybe he wasn't legit. He didn't seem like it was anything that overly was like, oh my God, this guy's cheating, but at the same time, it's kind of like, something's a little funny. How are you getting all these headshots and yet your accuracy's so low? I don't know. It was just
Yeah,
kind of
something
weird to
doesn't
me.
make sense. Yeah, something
Yeah.
doesn't make sense because even when I came around the garage and he was down by the house
Hmm.
side, he was already aiming at me. I mean, I barely popped my head out, and there was another spot where I was at the turbine, and I saw him, and I popped back over, and I was slowly getting ready to shift over to get in, to try to line up my shot, and he had already shot me, and I was undercover. So that's why
Hmm.
those things, yeah, we know with gaming where I see myself and where you see me, I think I'm ducked over and hiding behind this whatever
Maybe,
obstacle, and yet when you watch the replay from their side, you're out in the middle
yeah.
of nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like, granted, we don't see this here, but it's hard to say if this is one of those situations with the network encoding of the game where our
Yeah.
line of sight's different from their line of sight.
Dark Zone might be onto something too. I don't know if that's legit or not, but I've heard rumors about something like that. Yeah, well, he
Yeah,
has a mob where they can see where you are, much like the what was it, like old perk you could use in the other Halo, where you could see like the scanner to go through the environment or whatever.
yeah. I've seen people use controller cheaters so that way it's not on their console, but the controllers have some sort of. I have, I have no idea how, but these guys were doing it, and this was back in the 360 days, and I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
it's even more leveled up than before. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and this guy's on PC, so who knows yet again what he's using,
Mm.
if he's using anything. You know what I mean? So it's
Sure.
it didn't feel like it was 100% cheat, but it was kind of questionable. So I'm not going to say he was a cheater. I'm going to say it's questionable.
Our Halo expert in the chat, our Rob says the Promethean vision. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. That was just it. Promethean. They had it in the Halo. What was it? Halo 5, wasn't it? Halo 5. It was one of your perks that you could use and see people through the map for a short period of time. So something like that. Who knows? But at the end of the day, you know
yeah.
what? At the end of the day, Dread, we had a great time. That's the
Well, we
main
had a
thing. Win or lose,
blast.
we had a good time. I know I swore a few times. I get a little heated, especially with some of the bullshit kills. But I still had a great time, and you were kicking ass. You were definitely feeling your stuff last night. I was a little bit off, but yeah, but no, it was good. Good times, man. Good
Tell you
times.
what, it feels like old school Halo
It
for
does.
me. You know what I mean? It's like I go to between Master Chief and 5. When I go to 5, I am like at the bottom. I am at the bottom, and here I am at an infinite, and I'm feeling competitive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's good because if I'm at the bottom, there's other people that we've played with that are at the bottom. I'm sure they're feeling a little bit more competitive too
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to Infinite. So, and that's a good thing. That's you want to be like that. There's been
Absolutely.
games that we've had other places that it was like domination, and it's like, oh my god, why do I even pick up this controller? Because there's no point to it. But yet here, even when you're getting dominated, it doesn't feel that bad. So hopefully more games can aspire to be like that
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to playability. But yeah, this year's been good for games.
It's been a pretty good year. I mean, all considering, here we are still in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, as they like to call it, all that sort of stuff. And we've heard the horror stories. I mean, even just recently, I think Final Fantasy, what is it, 16, delayed, but another 6 months apparently,
Yeah, yeah.
due to they saying loss of work hours and things due to the COVID pandemic and stuff like that, which is totally understandable. I'm sure a lot of games came out. I think the only reason some of them came out as well as they did, like say It Takes Two, was because they were fairly far along in development. I think by the time when things were shut down, so where some games might have been right in mid development, and they lost a lot of teams and different contractors that had to make it difficult, that sort of stuff. So yeah. So that sort of thing. John Madden is in the chat, and he must be mad because he just dropped $20, 22 cents in the super chat. Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. Well, happy New Year to you, Gone Mad. Thank you for your love and support of this podcast and the channel over the past year and however much else. That's amazing, man. Channel on fire. It's been a great year for this channel, and it's been a great year for my podcast. I only do two, as I always said before, and I still stand by it. overdoing it in the podcast game can come back to haunt you too. Like for some people, I just think you just got to watch it, man. Just sometimes a little bit too much, and then you wonder why your audience drifts out because, well, you can't watch podcasts 6 and 7 nights a week. At least I don't think you can, or listen to them all the time. So,
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah, what's that?
Well, all right, I should probably should be saying this, but when you're everywhere, if I miss you last night or I missed you tonight, I could probably in my head catch it tomorrow night. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
suppose you have a point if
When
you're constantly on.
everywhere, then you could be missed because just the fact of you're everywhere. If I missed it this time, I'll catch you next time. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then it just kind of falls into the I've heard the same thing over and over again from the same person over and over again. So you kind of want to have a little bit of that separation between your thoughts and going out there for everybody. So
Well,
you do have that, and that's why a lot of weeklies work. But you have two shows which work out because they're two different shows. So that yet
exactly.
again for you works out perfect, and it's a
Yeah.
good build.
Well,
So
I shout out to the people that do lots of shows, and I'm not referring to Boomstick or anybody else. I'm not
no,
picking out a person. I can only speak for myself. If they're fine doing that and it's not that taxing, great. I applaud them. But for me, doing those personalities, being the impromptu, bringing that comedy that we do in Gaming After Dark is not easy. And certainly I don't think I could do that for 4 or 5 days a week if I had to do podcasts. I also saw in the past when I overdid Cletus a little bit, it felt like people were getting sick of him. Like, so I don't want to get to that point where people are like, Jesus, it's Noof Nukem again. Like, holy crap. Does this guy, does he play games or does he spend his whole life on YouTube? I don't want that to be going around. And,
that's where podcast exclusivity counts. Makes a difference.
Yeah. So I do 2 shows and 2 very different shows. I'm very proud of both of them. My panels are extraordinary. Our guests are amazing. Can't wait to get a lot of people that are in the chat. Hopefully here sooner or later too. Masshole, good to see you. Dark Zone 2525. But like I said, I had a lot of great guests last year. You were on the show multiple times. It was fantastic. And Pure Flag Monkeys in the house. Good to see you here as well. Mr. Joanna Dark, there's a person I just recently started following. Got to check him out on a podcast recently. Liked how he articulated and would like to get him on as a guest here if he is willing.
Definitely get him on. He's a great guy.
Absolutely. That's what I get from that. So anyway, before I guess we get into other things, and I'll just talk to Dread about the year that was, or it still is for another couple of days. Big, I guess, rest in peace to the legend, John Madden. So whether you're a football fan or not, you cannot deny that the name John Madden has been synonymous with electronic arts, football in particular, and the sports scene for God knows how many years. I mean, many of us who weren't even football fans, perhaps back in the day, picked up, John Madden football on the Sega Genesis, and we saw the evolution there. PC obviously as well, but I remember it from the Genesis and how much fun me and my buddies had with that game back in the 16-bit era and how it evolved over the years. And like I said, almost become a phenomenon. Now perhaps a little bit stale, but either which way, shout out to John Madden and rest in peace. He seemed like a pretty loud, boisterous personality. Had a great little stint in the NFL as both a coach and a commentator, and now he will go and voice track, I guess, the games in the skies. So big thoughts to shout out. So there you go. Let's see what
rest in peace. My condolences to his family and friends. So okay. I mean, he helped. If you think about it, he helped change the way football is played in the games. So
sure did.
With all the commentary, he helped make a lot of changes. So whether or not you like Madden, if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be where we're at with football games.
Oh, absolutely. And he had a lot of input, certainly in the early days and how those games were constructed. I don't know how much involvement he had over the last few years, probably very little, but I know in the early days he was heavy behind the scenes, the playbooks and how stuff should work and if it felt authentic and stuff like that, and of course you used to have him a lot. Remember in the first games he would be in the like a commentator and stuff in the games too. You'd have his voice and his likeness in there. So
that was that's what made it memorable, because it was just another football game, another football game. Back in the day, what was the best game we used to have? Tecmo, right? It was
That's right.
Tecmo Ball,
Hmm.
and when Madden came out, it blew it out of the water. But I mean, it didn't come running out like that. But you know, the commentation, just everything that they put into it, brought it up to the next level.
Hey, our brother Fastback is in the chat. Alex is Valve. How is everybody tonight? Apex, what's going on? Good to see everybody here. You guys are fantastic. So, Dread, tell me a little bit, since you're here and I got you, tell me a little bit about your year, how it went overall, your overall consensus. How would you sum up the year that was for Xbox? And most importantly, what game did you have the most fun with this year?
Okay, well, let's see. Overall, the year, it was so. You know what I mean? It was better than last year. Um, Personal life, it wasn't so bad in those kind of aspects, but obviously, when it comes to um, gaming, the ability to play and having the time, it wasn't there. But when it came to podcasting, that was still a good one. Even my personal brand with Breaking Bread with Dread, we did some really cool stuff. We went up to Pennsylvania. We went to Easton and did the Amico event. So that was like a big deal for me, because I was nervous at that time. I didn't have really the money to do that,
Hmm.
but it was like, I'm going to meet Mike Mullis. I'm going to see a console that's not even released yet, and who knows, I'm possibly going to be able to play it. And so that was actually a great event. Meeting Tommy Tallarico and actually talking to him.
Nice.
You know, um, he is that energetic, and he's very, very polite. He's never ever like scolded anybody, like, don't do that, don't do this. He's like, hey, let me help you, let me show you this. So for a person that is a CEO of a company and pushing the brand, I even saw him at the airport when we left, because we were there for the weekend, and I stayed up all night because there's no way I was going to go to sleep and make it to the airport. It was one of those things. But I got up, I made it to the airport early. People were missing their flights because they didn't think it was going to be that bad. And it took us a good hour to get through. And I'm sitting there, I got my coffee, walking around, hanging out. And all of a sudden I see Tommy hanging out there. He's at the same airport I was at. So I went over, and he's just a average person, friendly. Hey, how's it going? I told him, I said, we should probably rig one of these TVs in the airport. We can play some Smash, Astro Smash or something. And he kind of giggled at me like, "Are you serious? Like, you're going to get in trouble for this, right?" And he's like, "I don't think." I'm like, "No, I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding." But it was funny. It's stuff like this. When you go out there and do stuff. I've met some really cool people. Like this last one was with Peter HTK 360. So meeting up with them, and next year is looking like a good future too. So but it's good, is it's getting out there, and it's turning this negativity that's been going around for
Hmm.
me when it comes to, like I said, just the social aspect of gaming, right? So it's great to be able to talk and see people. Overall, when it comes to Xbox, yeah, they've spun everything around. Even PlayStation, there's been games out there I've been salivating for, but I'm waiting. I just can't do it right now. It's like you said before, um, trying to afford everything, right? I figured, you know what, I'm going to do a good, um, not buy it because I'm not going to be playing it much. I'll let my friends, my fellow gamers, have a chance to buy a PS5 before I do, and sit on it, because I'm playing more Xbox, because I am more of an Xbox guy now than a PlayStation guy. But at the same time, I'm a gamer. It's not, but at this, and now I'm like, if I had the money, what would I be doing with it? Like you said, you had to get rid of it. Would I be doing the same thing? Would I be sitting there dusting it off every other day because I'm not playing as much as I thought I would be? It's hard to
Hmm.
say. But overall, I think in the end, it's been a good year. You know what I mean? It's like when you
Hmm.
first look at it, it's like, how do you go about this? How do you deal with all this? How do you
Yeah.
manage it? And like I said, I was nervous about flying out there, and like, are we, what's going to
Sure.
happen?
Sure.
You know,
Yeah. Well, it looks like you had a great time. There's
yeah,
some stand up
great
guys for
time.
sure. Like
And
it's good seeing a
overall,
picture of you in HGK.
yes,
Yeah.
overall, Halo has been like the best game I've played this year, and it's yet again, it's because it's one of my favorite style of games.
Right.
And being able to play it in beta, and being able to play it like you said the other night with
Hmm.
with you. I was playing with several different members of the community over and over again, um, and just even losing, we've been having a good time. So Halo's been the best game I've played this year.
Nice. Well, can't really argue with that pick. I've had a ton of fun with Halo Infinite. Yeah, I think I got through the campaign just over 15 hours. Now I'm going back and clean up the side missions. Been absolutely having a blast with it. No, I played on the normal difficulty, guys. Sorry. I always start on normal, and then eventually I usually jack it up and try for the higher degrees if I feel like it. But normal, it had its challenging moments too. So it wasn't a walk in the park by any means. I didn't blow through every base and every enemy. So there was a few bosses that literally kicked my ass on normal and put me in my place until I got a hang of a few things and used some advantages. It was good stuff. Shout out to get to the super chats here before I ask you a few more questions. We got some great comments in the chat as well about how people feel that Xbox performed this year. Before we get to those, Assassin Lupa, our good friend, she drops £5. What is the game you would love to play but you've not got yet, Newf Nukem? And Happy New Year, my friend. Well, Happy New Year to you, Lupa. Love and best wishes to you in 2022. Hopefully, you'll have a better year health wise. It's a rough one for you. So, thanks for that. And thanks for all that you do. Yeah, me and Lupa, like I said, we played It Takes Two. It was both of our game of the year. We had a blast playing it. Unbelievable. And we're trying to finish a way out right now, going back to the one prior to. See here. Oh, you're keeping track of my super chats for me, Dread. Nice, nice. We got our good friend of the show, Lady Foxfire, who made a big resurgence in 2021. So not only was it a good year in some game ways, it was great to see some old familiar faces come back in strong fashion, including Lady Foxfire. She's a real sweetheart, great gamer, beacon of positivity. Her Foxy deals have been awesome. I miss podcasting with her. For those who don't remember, me and Foxy were permanent panel members on the Console Corner way back in the day. Great little show that was, and now is not. But we go way back. She's happy holidays, Newfie bro. Hope I can join you in your great panel next year. We certainly will have you on. You're an awesome community dude. Keep doing what you do. Well, you keep doing what you do. We got a lot of great community people in here. You're talking about Tommy Tallarico earlier. It's funny because I really like to talk to Tommy and get the inside scoop um, on the Amico. Obviously, it's gone through a rough couple of years. It was supposed to come out in 2020,
Yes.
and here we are now at 2021, and it's still not here and not looking like it's coming out until sometime next year. Is that correct?
As of right now, yes, it'll be out next year, and it looks like I'm not going to say this is official,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to say from what it looks like. So it's not me officially speaking for the company. It's not me
Right.
saying that I know any insiders. I do know, but it's not part of it. But um, it looks like those that have pre-ordered it'll be trickling out. So how they're doing it, I know
Mm-hmm.
I've thrown out my thoughts and suggestions to them, and I'm sure Mike and a few others have said the same thing with their thoughts and opinions for their suggestions on how they should do it. Whether or not they listen to any of us or do their own thing, it's hard to say. But I mean, when you got to think about it. How many pre-orders have Walmart had? Have GameStop had?
Mm-hmm.
How many orders have they had directly through their company, through their website? Who do you fill out first? You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
one of those things that you gotta um, uh, how do you say appease the masses at the
Yeah.
same time, and those are bigger companies than people that went directly through the website. So it's as of right now, I believe that's how they're going to do is trickle it out, but I don't know
Yeah.
how, and I don't know what the ins and outs are of that, but
Sure.
I know they're pushing more videos out. They're showing. There you go, Fastback. Thank you. Founders Edition first. I know they're pushing more and more of that to, but after Founders Edition, I have no idea how they're going to do all that. But they're pushing out videos to promote it and hype it up, and you know, there's unfortunately there's still people that want to nitpick. You know, we've said it how many times, Noof? How many times we all of us have said it. Not every game is for everybody. You know what I mean? But at the same time, not every console is for everybody. If you're not feeling it, then you shouldn't be forced to get it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is the same thing. It's not for everybody. It's not for your demographic. You know, if you're a shooter bro, shooter man, then obviously this isn't for you. Why do you care? Just move on. You know,
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing. But yeah, with everything that they got going, it's looking like it's gonna, you know, for what it is, it's gonna launch, and it's gonna be. I'll tell you what, it's once you get it in your hands, it'll definitely turn on a light bulb. It is a totally different feel, totally different mentality, and then it pops up. It's like, oh, I get it now.
Well, I'm hoping I'm hoping it's going to be very successful. I'd like to get my
Yeah.
hands on one.
I mean,
Tommy seems like a great guy. I reached out to him and asked him if he'd be a guest on like Good Morning Xbox. He said he would definitely be a guest, and I really haven't heard back from him since. So I don't know if he just forgot or he got busy, but
it's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get busy like that, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
So sometimes you want to be the squeaky wheel or this, you know, the squeaky door, you know, they get the grease. But at the same time, you don't want to be that annoying. And you got to think about this. This is the only place you're going to get Earthworm Jim 4.
Right.
So if you want to, if this is one of your favorite platform games, that's the only place you're going to go. You know, so does exclusivity matter? Yes and no. You know,
Oh, well, it'll certainly be nice to have games on that particular platform that aren't readily available everywhere else. I think that'll be part of its appeal. But again, its appeal is going to be, bringing old school gameplay and old school stock games into sort of the modern era with, again, simplistic, easy to pick up controls. That's going to be its catch, and games that aren't going to be super costly crazy. You're going to pay a little bit up front, sure, for the console, but the games are going to be all highly affordable, and hopefully they're easy to accessible, that you can readily go in and pick them up at your local GameStop, or the online way to get the games is going to be easy. Hopefully all that stuff is very simple and not hard to get to. So
they did release a video one of the last videos on purchasing a game and how easy it is to show and how it loads. They also, what I was going to say, they're also bringing. Remember when Battletoads came back, and how with the current situation with the pandemic, how everybody was like, you didn't think of putting online co-op. You know what I mean? So it's like,
right.
This is going to be basically return to Nintendo. If you think about it, the NES, right? So the return to pass the controller over, Nintendo 64. What do? You got 4 players sitting there playing together, either competitively or as a team or teams, So this is going to be returned to that type of form, is the couch, the family on the couch, or friends on the couch. And that's going to be the best part. I mean, I got those videos that were recorded in the pre-party, and those guys, was it level 857? Those guys were so loud and so getting into the games. It was great, because you're like, what are they screaming about? Like, you're like running over there to see, and they were having great matches and having a good time. Everybody was having a good time passing around, and this is what the epitome of gaming is. This is what we should be doing, right? We were just doing this past week with Halo. The past weekend, last week with Halo again, 12 versus everybody in big team battle, right? We'd never ever had the control points beaten so fast. We just, as a unit, we were able to swoop in, go to A, go to B, go to C. we annihilated them,
Yeah.
right? And that was the fun. Now, that wasn't a LAN party, but that could have been a LAN party. That could have
Yeah.
been us, like old
Hmm.
school on the OG
No
Xbox.
doubt.
This is the beauty of just being a gamer,
Hmm.
and that's, I can't emphasize that enough.
Mm.
That we should be able to look at these,
Hmm.
and it's not a Ouya. That was one of those things that just failed. Atari,
Hmm.
um, the new Atari was AVS or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
they they had a great idea, but it was an overpriced PC inside of
Yeah.
a shell. It just, you know, there's going to be hits and there's going to be a lot of misses, but you got
Yeah.
to keep an open mind.
So let me ask you this, and I'll extend this question to the chat as well. What do you think, Dread, moving forward in 2022 and perhaps beyond? What do you think is the biggest challenge facing Microsoft right now? They did a lot right in 2021. The power narrative thing they've kind of put to bed. They've got two amazing consoles on the market. One, like I said, that has the horsepower, everything you want in a console. The other one's an amazing little console that's affordable and a great entry level product, and obviously sold in droves this holiday season. So hardware wise, they're smiling. Game Pass numbers are looking pretty good, perhaps stagnant in some areas, but I would assume I would love to see the numbers after this holiday season. From all intents and purposes, it looks like they're skyrocketing. Things will start paying off here. If they're not already, they should eventually. And I think this year was a big boost in terms of how Xbox games were looked at and perceived in the marketplace. I mean, they put out so much quality and quality this year and diversity in their titles that even the media basically could no longer be like, yeah, these games are this or they're that. It was almost like we saw a little bit of a change in the guard or change in the wind, because Microsoft really stepped in when Sony kind of stepped aside a little bit this past year. I think they did. I mean, not in all purposes, but in some ways they did. Xbox sort of carried that momentum and kept it going. And they had amazing games, from Flight Simulator to Psychonauts 2 to Forza Horizon 5, which came up and blew the doors off. And then, of course, Halo Infinite, for all intents and purposes, outside of maybe the odd person here and there, everybody that I know, regardless of whether you think this game is just incredible or it's good, everybody is loving it. I haven't seen so many people playing. Like, on my friends list, and this is crazy, I virtually have nobody playing Call of Duty. Like there's 3 or 4, that's it. Everybody's playing Halo right now for the most part. It's nuts, and I haven't seen it in years. So you think like that is, they've kind of locked that down. That must give them a lot of confidence rolling forward to know what they're doing right. And now what do you think is it going to be more acquisitions? We keep hearing that they're not done, that they're going to come back to the table. Who do you think they might possibly pick up? How do they, what is their focus for 2022, do you think?
Well, I'm hoping their focus is on getting those studios from WB. I'm still I'm still standing by my guns on that one. I know, like I said, I heard some inside stuff that they just pushed the seat back. They didn't get up from the table. So I'm sure once WB or AT&T realized how much WB was worth, and it's just basically trying to figure out the licensing deals and see if it's even worth any of this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not that still holds true, I'm gonna believe so. I'm gonna hope so, because I mean, who would want to see Ed Boon join Microsoft and make
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat slash Killer Instinct?
Yeah, they're always hinting at something, aren't they? They're always kind
Right.
of like, yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, he even hinted he would love to work on Killer Instinct. You know what I mean? So there's going to be that spot. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
there's many little things that you could piece together. Like I said, I heard something
Mm-hmm.
way back when, and once they realized how much they were really worth, they pulled the plug on it. But like I said, Microsoft never, technically Xbox, but they never left the table.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think that's one of them.
something's coming, because they've been watching
Yeah.
Sony snapping up some of the little guys. Just recently, Tencent bought the Turtle Rock, the developer of Back for Blood. So that's going to be interesting. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, we're not talking about Whirlwind, but you know, everybody counts. And right now, developers are, you know, a few years ago, developers were so expendable it wasn't even funny. It was like, yeah, you make one little mistake and you're done, and everybody was getting absolved and broken up. And now it's almost the opposite because content is king, and everybody's got a subscription service, and you can't make content without proper developers, loads of them, both your big studios, your 200 plus people, and your studios that got 5 and 10. You have to fill. If you're going to want your platform to succeed in a subscription based world, you have to have content.
Gotta have it.
Everybody knows this. You cannot go stagnant. You can't have 6 months where all of a sudden there's nothing on there, because what happens? People get bored. They turn to someone else. They start stopping subscribing. They start spending money elsewhere. There are lots of entertainment options, people. So they have to keep it coming. That was a big,
Yeah.
big reason why they acquired the Bethesda deal. That was a big part of it. And I don't think Microsoft is done by any means. I think they're going to load up on somebody big again this year. Warner Brothers makes all the sense in the world because of their access to certain IPs. It would be a home run
Yeah.
kind of hit. You'd have enough in your stable then that you're going to be set up pretty well, I think, for the next God knows how
I
many years.
yeah, I see Microsoft, not Xbox, Microsoft
Yeah.
buying tech. Okay, so whether it's
Mm.
not necessarily physical tech, but there's also the rumors where they were talking about building manufacturing sites over here to help offset the shipping costs for Xboxes, so that way they can build them here and sell them here
Right.
and still have readily available. You know what I mean? So they would still have those deals over there overseas. But you know, you figure tech when it comes to software, they have like these physics and Blink and this and that, all this tech that these studios use with to assist their engines, and people forget about that stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is stuff that Sony, Microsoft, I mean, a lot of the bigger companies, I'm sure Tencent has something involved in there. So they're not just going, okay, let's buy Unreal Engine and go with that. No, there's other assisting things and that's where Unreal Engine 5 is trying to do, is get
Mm-hmm.
away from that and utilize everything within itself. But there's other things that they overlap on top of this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, like you said, with that, you still want to keep Game Pass at a premium, right? So you want to keep it where there's so many games coming in, keep your attention coming in. Well,
That's
how
right.
do you do that, right? You keep on getting these day one deals with with these other companies, these studios, but what happens? You're spending money there. So if you're going to spend money, you buy the money. I'm sorry, you buy the money. You buy the companies that are doing that, right? So they're going to keep on bringing out AAA titles. Guess what? That money was a one-time thing. It's not just for one game. It's not for repeated, this game and then this other game that they're coming out with next. It's one time. After that, it's in there. It keeps you keep coming, right? So this is
Mm-hmm.
the whole reason why Netflix started building their own studios to make their own movies and shows, because
Exactly.
it only costs them that one time. After that, you just leave it in the bank right there. Here
Mm-hmm.
it is. All this profit is keep coming back. I'm surprised, and I thought, and I'm still wondering what's going to happen. But Studio MDHR, I'm surprised that
Yeah.
Xbox hadn't bought them in yet. But at the same time, they're still such a small company
Mm-hmm.
that maybe it's one of those flukes that they've
Mm-hmm.
helped them out. But I'd hate to see them be picked up. But they've
Oh,
only got one game, so how do you have you don't
right.
even have a history yet to show you what you can do, and they're going to have a DLC.
Mm-hmm.
So yet again, it's like this is taking forever. If they had um, a bigger development crew, that could speed up the process because this is all hand
Yeah.
drawn. I mean,
Well, who knows? Like maybe at the end of the day, it's an Ori situation. We heard from is it Moon Studios that makes
yeah,
Ori?
Moon,
Like
yeah,
we
Moon,
just heard recently how they're kind of glad they're not underneath a certain umbrella because their games get enjoyed by multiple platforms and stuff like that. So it sounds like they're okay to be, so sort of semi-independent. They're obviously thankful for the big push that Microsoft gave them and the marketing and stuff, but they want their games to be played by a wider audience and perhaps would like to be on the PlayStation platform. And I don't think Ori is at this point, correct? It is on the Switch and Xbox at this point.
Xbox and Switch.
Yeah,
I'm looking here. Cuphead shows that it's on PlayStation 4.
it is.
Okay, so that's what's throwing me off. It's on on the Mac OS, the Macintosh, so
Mm-hmm.
it's everywhere. So I thought, oh no, that's right.
Well,
Microsoft only helped them.
some people have the misconception when you're small that you're easily bought or you easily want to be part of a bigger picture. But sometimes, once you get that a certain level of success to sustain yourself in your studio, you don't really need, to get bought out. Again, if you make great games, you're always going to find a publisher. You know what I mean? So that's what AP says. He's not that great at the gaming, but he loves playing, and he says, who doesn't love a guy that makes you look like a great gamer? No doubt, AP, I'm sure you made me look like I was an absolute elite at times, but you know what, bro, it's not about the kill death ratios and the scores. We have fun, that we get in there, we laugh. You're just a great dude, man, and we appreciate you. So don't think that we don't notice that you're there. You come in, whether you're racking up the donuts or not, brother, we appreciate you being there. The fact that you come out and, the fact that you come up perhaps and don't have great games and still stay and still show up, that says a lot more than someone that just shows up all the time because they're kicking ass and they don't want to play any games they're not great at. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like me, I'll play any game, whether I'm great at it. I always tell people like Forza. I love playing Forza, but if you watch my track record in Forza, I rarely ever come first. Wreckfest, I play that with Lupa and Mike Mullis and all those guys, and with you, Dread, and I rarely ever come first in that either, but I still have a blast doing it. That's what gaming's about. Some games I'm going to do great, some games I'm going to suck, but it's all about having fun, and that's where private matches are really great because everybody's accepting, everybody's fairly on a fairly even playing field. You don't get the cheaters, you don't get a lot of the tryhards, you don't get all of that crap. You have them with your friends having a great time. And whether you're a girl, whether you're a guy, whether it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. Everybody's just having fun. John said it best. It's all fun, and that's all we want. That's all we expect from anybody. Come out and have fun, and mission accomplished.
Yeah.
And we've had so many people that say to me, "New, thanks for starting up community game nights, and thanks to Tush, all those guys, because it gave people something to look forward to. It gave people that normally would steer away from multiplayer because they didn't like the online environment a lot with the shitheads, so to speak. They come over here and they actually have fun with those games and realize what they're missing. And when you hear those stories, you kind of go, you know what? I know what we're doing is a very small thing in the grand scheme of things, but it's amazing, and there's value in it. It's value just for people and their peace of mind. And God knows we all need an escape and a chance to hang out and just have fun. So.
Yeah, we've also seen those characters that have shown up because they're only skilled at this one game, and that's all they want to play. They never want to play anything else. They never want to open up to anything else, and it's always I'm better than you. But you don't see them last too much longer because it just doesn't fall in with their mentality. And this is the whole thing about community game night. Granted, I haven't been able to play and participate like I used to at the beginning, but it's I still watch when I can. To try to jump in, and I see this on Twitter. Everybody's like, "Oh man, that was a great night. Hey, this is what we're gonna do next week between you guys and Tushy and Animated Evil and Paul." Holding up the reins when you knew obviously can't be there too because yet again we're all busy. But it's nice to have multiple people that are picking up the reins and also
totally
taking care of it and showing the community that this is how we play. This is how it should be. You know what I mean? Because you go to your friend's house back in the day, and no matter how good you were, you'd still play. No matter how bad you were, you'd still play. And if it was this game or that game, you fought over which games you wanted to play, but you still were friends, and we don't see that anymore. And this is one of those places where you still see that, where, how many times have people been on top and then on the next type of game, because they were a shooter, they're not a driver, they're on the bottom. You know, I mean, there are
Yeah.
some people that just play anything and they're good. You know, we've had how many? Who was it? Shameless, right?
Hey, what can I
On
say, man? I play my community game nights like I have my sex life. I'm usually on the bottom. I had to get a gaming after dark kind of joke in there. Assassin
I,
Loop asked me a question earlier too, and I forgot to answer a question like, "What game this year have I not played that I would like to have?" I guess. Boy, that's a tough question because I have played most of the stuff that has been on my radar for the most part this year. Great question. I would say I don't know. I've been pretty interested in Riders Republic. That looks like a lot of fun, and I wouldn't mind having that one. And I guess for the Nintendo Switch, I would like to have. Was it the Legend of Zelda? What's the one that just that came out? It's the remaster. Um,
oh, the
Skyward Sword.
yeah.
Skyward Sword. Just and I'll tell you why. And I hate to sound like a fraud, but I missed out on Skyward Sword because Skyward Sword came out kind of when it first came out. It came out sort of right at the end of the Wii generation, I think, and right between the Wii U. And by that time, I basically gotten rid of all those consoles, and I never got around to playing it. And now that it's on the Switch, and I love playing like Nintendo games and some of those titles on the Switch, because when you're on the go, it's a great great pastime, right? To play them on the go wherever you are, and that's what I love about the Switch, and love those little cartridges or little memory cards. That shit's so noof nukem right there.
Have you
I
tasted
don't.
them?
No, I have not tasted. I heard they're awful though.
I heard they were awful, and I was at my friend's house. I was like, "I'm going to taste your cartridge." He's like, "No, you're not. Don't do it." I'm like, "I'm going
Yeah,
to taste it."
yeah. We don't want
Yeah,
cooties or
they're
COVID on my cartridge.
horrible. No, it was
Hmm.
one of the new ones that he got. I wasn't gonna
I
try
guess it
one of the
makes
other ones.
sense because there's always some little doofus kid that'd be like, "Oh, I think I can eat this," and then keep him from swallowing. Because you imagine like you eat the cartridges or something?
It's yeah. You want to spit it out fast. You don't. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
want to chew on that thing. You don't want to. No, it's. I would rather put batteries to my tongue and
Mm,
and testing how how fresh those batteries are than do that again. I mean, but yeah, it's yet again, it's stuff like that. It's all stupid things that we do as gamers. Some of us are smart enough to know better once we hear about it, and some of us, even though we heard about it, we still want to find out for ourselves.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, that was a weird one, but I totally kind of get the reasoning behind it for that exact same reason. Because with them being so small, they are easy to for some kid to put in their mouth as like a cracker, and next thing you know, whoop, down it goes. So if it tastes bad, they're more likely to be like spit it out and not swallow it. So
Yeah.
yeah, like thank God they don't make like well, at least I don't think they do. They don't make like fruit flavored Play-Doh. Because how many kids have eaten Play-Doh in their life? Probably a lot.
Yeah, too many. Too many. I mean,
Play-Doh, crayons.
crayons, yeah.
Yeah, fucking kids eating crayons and shit all the time. It's like, oh my god, man.
Just eating the ink off of a marker. It's like, how do
Yeah,
you I
and
don't
if the
yeah.
and if the kids don't do it, the dogs probably will. Oh, look, the dog's got red lips. He must have been eating the red markers again, right?
Yeah.
Fuck. I still remember a story about this was years ago when the cell phones were small and it was a little flip phone, but the guy bought his girlfriend a phone for Christmas, and they couldn't find it when he went to give it to her, and decided to ring the number, and then they heard it ringing, and the ringing was coming from the fucking dog because the dog ate the cell phone and it was ringing inside of him. And I can totally see that happen. You're sitting there waiting for the dog to shit
Man.
out your cell phone.
I hope that's not real because knowing about batteries and stuff like that, they would have had to take that dog to the vet right
I don't
away.
know the outline of the story, but that's the story I heard, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised. It's probably true, but who the fuck knows? There's all sorts of crazy stuff.
There's so many things that are so crazy that are true, and it's like you
Yep,
can't make this stuff up. But man, I hope that's not true. That because yet again they would have to cut that dog open or figure out a way to
the
get that.
dog shit it out. Apparently, according to the story, he just shit it out. So
Yeah, Is Snope still around? Because we should probably look that up. I, I have a feeling. I don't
Crazy
know.
Greek Dude brings it up. Kids in elementary school eating Elmer's glue. Simple, yeah. I can definitely that one. I know I've seen kids do it. I wouldn't always amaze me because the stuff didn't exactly smell that great. Kind of like sour, and they be sitting there, like, fucking fingers in it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I can't
I don't
imagine.
think I ate anything other than maybe chewed off an eraser or two accidentally from time to time. Chewing on a pencil, and be like, oh, there goes part of that eraser.
Yeah, I was never one of those chewers or biters when it came to school stuff, supplies.
So I won't keep everybody too much longer. Like I said, this is an impromptu kind of a podcast. I will ask Dreadpool, what's your plans for New Year, and most importantly, what are you excited for most in 2022, game or movie wise, perhaps?
Okay, the plans for New Year are basically hanging out with the family. I don't do the partying anymore like we used to do. Even, when my wife and I first got together, we would go to the club, and because I was a DJ, we'd know people, and we'd
Right.
hang out at the DJ booth and be one of the cool kids. So we thought it's no longer cool anymore, but whatever. It's you move on in your stages of life, and well, we stay home. If the daughter, Tiny Giant, wants to stay up, we'll let her
Mhm.
stay up, but we'll probably make her go to sleep early so we can have a New Year's blast. So yeah, other than that, for the next coming year, game wise, I just want to be able to play everything and anything,
Yeah.
willy nilly, whatever. Hopefully, I'll get my PS5 at that point in time, and whatever pops up and want to go between Xbox, PS5, or Switch, or even the Amico when it does come
Mhm.
out. Just be able to sit down and play what I feel like and whatever I'm in the mood, and hopefully enjoy it with the community members.
Mhm.
Those online games that we can play. Just have a good time like we've been having. And just grow what I say. The family.
Mhm.
This is a community. It's more like a family to me than a community.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's really what I want to do. I want to have more experiences that I didn't have a chance to have.
Yeah.
And that's in all aspects of life, whether it's gaming, whether it's the movies, because I don't follow movies as much anymore, when it comes to going to the theaters, because it's just too damn expensive when
Mhm.
it's not just me, if it was just
Mhm.
myself,
Yeah.
then great. I used to do that all the time, but when you're dating somebody, you're willing to pay for it. But now it's a whole family, and then it's a fiasco. Nah, forget it. I'll watch it at home, or I'll wait for it to come out and watch it months later. But overall, just enjoy life,
Mhm.
enjoy whatever opportunities happen again. If there's another Amico event, it doesn't have to be Amico, but another event, hopefully maybe E3 can be something to look forward to. Um, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know what? We take a lot in life for granted, that's for sure. And a great friend of mine posted something on my Facebook. I think it was yesterday, and it was very true. Now, whatever your beliefs may be in this life and world, but he said this. He said, "I woke up with two amazing gifts today." He said, God made me wake up with two amazing gifts today. I opened my eyes, and no saying could be truer. You wake up in the morning, you get to live another day. Wake up with your family and play games and just have fun. A couple weeks ago, on Twitter, I think I said something that was just a little bit spiteful. Something about people's finances. It must be nice to be rich and just buy $1,000 items without blinking your eyes. And I clarify is just like, you know what? Normally, I wouldn't say anything. I personally, like I said, if you work hard for your money or whatever, how you spend your money is on you. Like I'm not the one, you know what I mean? Like good on you. Like, you want to get these things in life. I'm not the stepping away. It's just, sometimes when you're in a tough spot yourself, you look at things differently and you forget. I don't know. You just forget about where you are and how should be just grateful for anything and everything, and not, not look at it that way. And I always try to keep myself grounded, because one of the panel members that we have on Good Morning Xbox is Cerebral Paul. And I bet you every day Paul wakes up and wishes that he had the same opportunities and the same things that we were able to do or given, and he is not. He is limited in his life because of the circumstances he is in. And you kind of stop and you think about that, and you go, why am I bitching? Why am I saying stupid stuff when there's other people out there with far off worse scenarios, and they're grateful for what they got and would give anything to be in my shoes, and I'm sitting here, saying stupid stuff like that. And you kind of go, yeah, I got to reel myself in and be realistic. I should be grateful. I had a great year for the most part. It was tough financially, but you know what? We all get through those humps. Lupa, I mean, we had great discussions, me and Lupa, during our game times together. And, the fact that she's still with us right now to even be in this chat is amazing. She has gone through so much in the last year, and God bless her. She still comes out to game nights, still a real trooper in every sense of the word. I don't know her personally, but she got to be one of the strongest people I know from the stuff she's told me, man. Crazy shit. So yeah, guys, be grateful, enjoy everything in life. The rest of it's all bonuses, and give back when you can. Hopefully this in 2022, I'm in a situation where I can pay stuff forward. I can give away more stuff, and hopefully put a big smile on people's faces.
Yeah.
Some giveaways and stuff like that definitely coming up in 2022, man. I would love to give away a console, some of the big things. That's my goal. Hopefully eventually is to do something like that. And just do it because it's going to make somebody extremely happy. And when I do a giveaway, hopefully it'll go to somebody that's a little less privileged. They're like not just giving it to somebody who wants to sell it, or they already got 50 fucking systems. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully I'll find a way that maybe somebody that's very deserving can win that sort of stuff. And I don't mind sending it to him. Hopefully I don't have to do a Tim Dog thing. So he was saying the story at RDX tonight, how
I heard that.
did you catch that?
Yeah.
He
That was
promised
horrible.
a console to that guy in Brazil, and then he ended up buying the console, shipping it, paying the import fees, and of course over there the poor guy, when he gets it, still has to pay $300 on his end. And it's like, so Tim Dog sent him basically the PayPal to cover off his stuff. It's like, man, that is absurd. That stuff is crazy, man. It's nuts. So yeah.
And I got to tell you, I'm going to double back where you're talking about like Cerebral Paul and other community members with other, let's say, limitations, not disabilities, right? Because they're not disabilities to those guys. Those guys have figured out
Right.
a way to move past that, right? So I call them inspirational because, like you said, you're more able-bodied, and then you put yourself down like that, and and then you look up and you're like, these guys have less opportunities because of certain limitations, and yet they manage to overcome them.
Yes.
So at the same time, that's what's like, that's inspirational that they're moving past that. And here I am, and I'm like, oh, life sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
puts it back into perspective.
It sure does. Yeah, and I apologize. And that's a good one thing about me is I'm not above anybody and not beyond. I say my fair share of stupid stuff sometimes, maybe just because I'm in a certain place emotionally and whatnot. And you come out and you do that, and you realize after, sometimes you read people's responses and you kind of go, you know what, I was a bit of an idiot there, and I realize it. But at least I'll say on my own part, most of the times when I am an idiot, I'm smart enough to realize that I was, and usually make up and apologize for it. There are some people that they're just ignorant and they never learn.
Yeah, see, but
like I said, you can't argue with stupid.
That's a human thing, right? We're just humans. We do stupid stuff like that. We don't think, now when you're stubborn like that and you don't want to admit your faults, or you know what I mean, and you're always trying to one up somebody for whatever reason because you have to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
That's no longer a human emotion. It's no longer a human mistake. It's
But
the opposite
but
side.
sometimes it's the little things. Like we hear the stories of how people are struggling to get a Series X, or they're struggling to get a PS5. And then you see somebody come on your timeline, like I said, more power to you, but then they're bragging about how they scored their fourth Series X, or they're on their third PS5 and all this stuff. And you're like, well, what the hell? Like, that must be nice, like,
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of makes you a little bit like, ugh, like, I don't know, like I don't know what's worse. Like, you guys are the fucking the scalpers, obviously, because they're the ones that are putting shit in this predicament. But, people when they're bragging about stuff like that, when most people are even lucky to find one, and we got people in the chat right now that are saying they still can't find a Series X, and then, so I don't know how you do it. You got connections, or you're like living your whole life online waiting for the damn stock to drop. So I don't know, but anyway. We got a super chat coming in from our good friend Emmanuel A1 of the show, dropping 20 whopping dollars. I've been falling asleep early and missing some of the shows live, but I want to say thanks for all the great entertainment in 2021, Noof. I love what the show has grown into. It's fire. Well, I appreciate that, Emmanuel. We happen to agree. We love where Gaming After Dark has been, where it's headed, and hopefully there's more great stuff ahead in 2022 and beyond. So fantastic stuff right there. So there we go. All right. I'm going to pretty much basically try to wrap this stuff up. But before I go, I can't do this podcast and not give you guys a chance. Yeah, my buddy Ryan Galloway, he bought my PS5 off me, oddly enough. And I thank Ryan, because actually the only reason I got rid of it because I wasn't playing it that much. And honestly, I just needed the money. I was in a bind this summer. A lot of bills came on top of me all at one time, and Ryan was a nice guy. But hey, I didn't overcharge him. He's one of my best friends. I think he got a pretty good deal on it, and he likes it, and that's the main thing. So, but yeah, I'll get one again one of these days. I still enjoy my Series X. I'm very fortunate and lucky to have one of those, so I won't complain. He's playing NHL 22 while listening to podcasts. There you go. He loves his NHL games, my good friend Ryan Galloway. Axel 1324 Gaming is in the house. What's going on, my good brother? And graphics look a lot better in that NHL game, right, Ryan? They definitely look a lot better on the current gen consoles than they did on the PS4, Xbox One. But anyway, I was going to say it wouldn't be, well, a show for me if I didn't, guys, give you a chance to do the ask moment of the night. And that is anyone you want. I'm not going to stay here too long, but I will do that because I know you guys love it. And that's the Ask Arnold, Cletus, or Safe House Sam a question. So if you have at it, yeah, Canadians and us hockey, right? So if you got a question, Dreadpool, if you got the one that you want to rhyme off while the chat comes up, by all means, pick your poison and let's go.
All right. Let's see. Hey, Arnie, why does Noof Nukem sound like you so good, so well? What is that? He does that impression that works, that makes it perfect. That he should be your voiceover in the next Mortal Kombat and kick that other guy's voice out.
Well, I don't know. It's about time that Noof Nukem is really good at something, because I've known that for many years he's no good at anything. So at least he's got that one good thing. And hey, if you're going to come out here and imitate anybody, it might as well be me. You might as well come on there and be able to do it and get it done and do it right. And he does a great job at imitating me. He'll never be me. He doesn't look anything like me. He's never going to be anywhere as successful as me, but I'm glad that he's here and he's able to do the impressions and he can make all of you guys laugh. I think that's phenomenal. You keep it going. Great job, Nukem.
Nice. Good answer. Axel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for something gaming. I don't know who this guy is, but hey, Arnold, what sort of game would you make for the Oculus Quest?
There's only one logical answer there, Axel. It's got to be a Terminator game. I mean, finally step into the shoes of John Connor or the T-800 and be in a futuristic apocalyptic world, and you're coming out there with your guns ablazing. That would be so cool to feel the weight and the drive of being a Terminator. Wouldn't it be cool in 3D? You're walking up to all these Sarah Connors. You're like, hey, Sarah Connor? No. Die, bitch. And you shoot in the head. Just like that.
So Monster 530 says, Arnold, what is your favorite New Year drink?
It's got to be a really stiff scotch. It's got to be something that's really good, and it's going to taste, and it's going to take the taste of a really bad vagina out of your mouth.
All right, Assassin Lupa. Hey, Arnie, tell us what it feels like to be rich. Question.
It's freaking amazing, Lupa. You never got to worry about anything. You never got to worry about your health care. You can stand in line. Heck, when you're rich, it's crazy because everybody wants to give you free shit. That is the craziest part about being rich. You go to places like, hey, you sit down here, Mr. Schwarzenegger, and have yourself a meal on the house. You come over here, we're gonna get you the best seats in the house. You're like, I got the money to pay, and you guys want to give me free shit. It's crazy. But anyway, it's amazing to have the money because you don't got to worry about all this stuff. If I want to buy something, I can go buy it. I don't have to worry about the bills, that sort of thing. It's great being rich. I mean, it's not the be all end all. It's not going to be a happiness, but you know what? Honest to God, it's so great that I can make a condom out of $100 bills and fuck the shit out of what I want.
Okay, AP's got one. I'm not sure if this should be for Arnie, but we'll go with it. Arnold, seashells or toilet paper?
It's gotta be the toilet paper. I wouldn't want to crack off a seashell in my asshole. That'd feel really crazy. Imagine breaking apart and you're cutting your anus. Man, it'd be crazy. I don't want to do that. You gotta have the toilet paper. Just make sure you get a really good roll of 2-ply because honestly, you don't want to have brown sticky finger when you're done.
All right, Monster also comes back with Cletus. Will your sister or cousin be your New Year's date?
Well, hey, fiddly diddly. You know what? I just decided to say that I gotta have to say this here right now, Martha. I'm gonna bring my sister, but simply because with my sister, she's close. We know each other real good. The ins and outs, the pimples, the moles, the scars. But my cousin's a little bit more distant than me, so yeah, I don't know. I had to go with the sister on that one. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm gonna go. We'll go with the sister if I gotta bring her out somewhere.
Hey, Cletus, may I make a suggestion for you? Why don't you take both? Have one on each side.
Well, hey, fiddly diddly, that's a goddamn that's a great suggestion, Dreadpool. See, that's why we got to bring guys like you on this show, because I can't think straight. Honest to God. Yeah, I can't think straight. Because I got too much going on up in this little noggin of mine, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, man, Florida man here, right? So we dig all this stuff, party in the front. No, wait, no. Business up front, party in the back. I just party everywhere. So Jesse Darby, almost missed it. It bopped real fast.
Yeah.
Safe House, what you doing now for New Year's?
Well, you know what I've been doing, Jesse Darby? I've been doing your mama. I might be doing your sister. I could be doing your whole family if you ain't got no plans. But you know what? That's the problem now. See, you really can't enjoy yourself because what? You're supposed to social distance. How the hell you supposed to get close to the person you want to be shebanging if you got to be 6 feet away? You got to take out one of those telescopic cell phone poles to get it done right. Second of all, you got to wear a mask. So how the hell is that going to go well when you try to go deep six on your old lady and you got some kind of a surgical fucking mask covering your face? I mean, that don't make no sense. So COVID is not very sexual friendly, you know what I'm saying? Like, my God, I don't know how anybody got babies being born up in here, but that's what I would say about that.
So Lloyd C pops in with, hey, Cleanus, what are your favorite New Year's resolutions?
You say cleanest?
He said cleanest. He said, "Hey, HA."
Yeah,
no judging. It's just funny reading. I had to read it exactly how he said it. So
okay,
hey,
cleanest.
What are your New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, well, here fiddly diddly about New Year's resolution could be this one this year. I've been having a little bit of trouble, chowing down on the pigskins at the house, because I don't have a whole lot of teeth in my head. So, I'm really nice because all you fancy folks, you get to go to the dentist and you get to get all these veneers and all these fancy. It'd be really nice if I could actually have a full set of teeth for once, because it's pretty hard to really eat something that's crispy and hard when your damn mouth looks like a freaking sea walrus. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know what you're saying, but okay.
Shit.
So Dark Zone pops in with a Cletus sandwich. So I'm assuming that's the taking both
cousin and a girlfriend. Yeah, the Cletus sandwich.
How is that a Cletus sandwich? It's like putting a slap of bologna, putting another slice of bologna, and then maybe a salami in there.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
that about sums it up. Yeah, it's like a 3-meat special here. It's like the KFC Double Down. There's 2 pieces of chicken and a slice of cheese in the middle, and salty as whole hell.
Dude, have you had that?
Yes, I've had them before, and my God, I thought I was gonna. Well, they are good, but my God, I feel like
so much oil,
oil and salt. I feel like
yes.
gallon of water, please. Noof Nukem, you make my week. Well, that's part of the reason I did this, Lupa, because I missed everybody, and I felt like, hey, let's come on and just do one of these shows. The last one I had such a good response, and people said, Noof, you need to do more of these. So hey, I'm living up to that. I'm going to do more of these, especially on nights when, hey, not many people else are streaming or doing stuff. So hey, let's do it. That's how it's good.
Yeah,
Great
and I
stuff.
figured I'd jump in to help you out. I figured because you
Hey,
said you was going to keep it short, and I was like, you know what? Let's make it longer. Let's not keep it short. Let's
hour and a half
yeah,
in already. That's
yeah.
crazy where the time goes.
Doesn't feel
Right?
like it. No,
No, it feels like I've been here like 15 minutes. It's insane. Monster says, I wasn't expecting to laugh that hard. Well, I'm glad I made you laugh, Monster. That is part of the reason I do this. So you guys can have a great kick. You know, that's the best comment you can get on a video. When you read the comments and somebody says, Noof, I've been having a rough week, checked out your podcast, and this shit is wild. You guys made us laugh, made my day, made my night. That's the best compliment I can get right there. Especially new people to the show too, discovering it for the first time, and they tell me, man, this podcast should be far bigger than it is. I agree. I know I'm biased, but I agree. What's wrong with people? They can't stay up late at night, or they don't know how to watch on the replay. What's the deal? But anyway, I do digress. We have fun, whether, like I said, whether we got 5 people in the chat or we got 50. We're having fun. I do appreciate the growth, and you guys are a large part of that. With your shares and your likes and that sort of stuff. Lloyd C, good to see you in the chat. Death Mobile is here. What's going on, my brother? Good to see you. It's been a while. Like I said, great. You guys are like family because so many people here. You're here each and every week. It's insane. So good to see everybody here. Great support.
especially showing up when there was not supposed to be a show set up. You know,
That's what impresses the hell out of me. 36 people hanging out with me right now. I'd be lucky to, like, man, you know, sometimes you're lucky if you get 1 or 2. This is awesome.
definitely.
Yeah. Yes, you guys are great. Well, you're great, Lloyd C. We appreciate you. But anyway, I'm going to close the show. I guess I really don't have much more unless you got any specific gaming questions you would like to ask before we go. You can send them to Dread if you like in the chat now, or send one to me. If you have a question that you'd like to hear our opinions on about gaming companies, the state of 2022, you know, that sort of stuff. Now, where's Meg? Well, this is not a episode of Gaming After Dark, as you can see by the title. It's just a little room with boom boom kaboom. So we decided to take this week off because it's family time. I just decided to come on and just do an impromptu kind of deal. So there you go. Yeah, there you go. All right, is $20 for The Last of Us 2 worth it? Totally. That'll be a bang of a deal at $20. I loved Last of Us 2. Some people maybe didn't. I would say buy it in a heartbeat at $20. You will get your money's worth. If you like the first, look, the bottom line is if you like the first Last of Us and you haven't gotten on that Last of Us 2 trail yet, do it. It's a great ride, great story. It was phenomenal. I loved it. It's funny because by the time that game was over, I became more of a big Abby fan, but at first I couldn't stand her. But when that story starts to play out, you start to see that Abby and Ellie are not so different from each other, and that's what makes it crazy. It's just how it all intertwines. And I won't ruin it if you never played the story, but trust me, it's pretty freaking amazing, in my opinion, personally. Okay.
John asks, why are third-party games still running better on PS5? You know, that's kind of a good question, and then he follows up with, or are they? LOL. You got to remember, more people, more developers are tuned with how to make PlayStation games, so their optimization skills are better there versus the technology that Xbox has been going with, because they went from one style on the OG Xbox to another format, which was basically a form of Power PC on the 360. Then they went with the One, which yet again, everything was better than the cell technology that they had on PS3. But when you're heavily invested in the place that has a bigger scope for your games to get out there to gamers, you're going to have a little bit of an edge there. You know, so when they did from 4 to 5, it's the same thing going from 1 to series, but granted, series was rebuilt, even though it's still on the x86 platform, just like PC. So, and they're all x86 now. So you're going from one to the next. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be a favorite for most devs because they already know that, and they know the bells and whistles, the ins and outs better. It's just more devs are there now. When the rest of the tools come out, when you're talking about a sliver of a grass, is that a big difference? Yes and no. I mean, if you're counting pixels and you're counting this stuff, then yeah, there's going to be a better on this thing or that thing, and you're going from all this to um, the lack of gaming, the lack of enjoying the experience. So it's a catch 22 when you start comparing them when it comes to, oh, this has an extra sliver of grass, oh, this has an extra definition of this, or when you're not just enjoying the game, you're no longer enjoying it. So I think part of that game is the game of who's got uh the better lead. It's like a high jumper, who's got better shorts
Well,
on.
that's just
You know
it.
what I mean?
If you look at a lot of the comparisons, what most people fail to realize is anytime the PlayStation 5 has technically been beating the Xbox in a performance is because they're basically using a lower fidelity like graphics. So like they're running like there's less textures or there's less stuff on screen. Most of the time is what you see is they compensate. The big one that came out when they showed, like, remember Cyberpunk 2077. If you look at the PlayStation version, it had a lot less NPCs and stuff happening on screen, so that less compute power was going in to other places. I think theoretically and technically speaking, Xbox should be running better in most, if not all, counts. But I also think you got studios that like when they're making games, sometimes the main studio hands off a certain version to another team who is in charge of, say, a port or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
configuration aspects of it, and they're maybe not as familiar with the game itself or the engine, perhaps. Again, if you're a development team who spent the bulk load of your time developing a game, say for the most popular platform, and technically for years it's been PlayStation. We saw this on the Xbox 360 generation too, where they were building a lot of the games on the PS3 first, just because it was a PlayStation, right? So I think there's a little bit of that. So inexperience plays into it. Sometimes you see these games have parity or they get better over time with certain updates. It's just out of the gate. Sometimes they run a little bit wonkier on one or the other. And some of these comparisons are so null, they shouldn't even be done, because you'll see Digital Foundry do them. And what you get, like, oh, this game missed like 3 frame rates here, or it missed that sort of stuff. And you're like,
Yeah.
really? Like, you're nitpicking this stuff? I mean, if the game ran consistently 50 frames on Xbox Series X for the whole duration of the game and was basically clocking 60 consistently on the PS5, you kind of be like, okay, that's a little odd. But like that off and on little gap here and there based on what's happening, it's, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great that they're getting the most out of PlayStation 5. It seems like there's nothing wrong with that. But again, this is just another narrative because Xbox has, the power written on the box, or the advantage out front, that people just want something to nitpick about, when most of it is just bullshit. But I think the true telltale is going to come soon when you see a game like Hellblade 2, which just was shown off. When we start seeing some of these really talented Xbox devs start pushing that hardware, I think it's going to become very apparent that the Series X is a real powerhouse, and there's not going to be much out there to be on pace with that.
Yeah, I'm going to add a couple more points to this. Ashtray's right. Before Digital Foundry, no one knew if a game ran 28 or 30. Because at that time we didn't care, right? At that time, no one really cared. We actually played the games. Now, when it comes to Unreal 4 and 5, Unreal 5 was made to easily port from 4. Okay, so there will be new tricks that they have to learn with the tech that's behind it, but they could easily take whatever 4 was and move it up to 5 and then tweak it. So there's certain things there that's what I was getting at before with knowledge. When you have a knowledge of a certain engine, you have a knowledge of a certain thing when it comes to a platform, it's going to be easier because you're already in that part. And that's where Newfus also saying, you take it out to this other development team. There's many studios that have other teams out there from other studios that help them. And they because there's certain time frames, there's certain mechanics that they need someone that's more of an expertise on that, or at least hoping that they're an expertise to help out and be able to do that. I mean, one of the big games that I like to refer to is Disney Infinity, right? Ninja Theory did the Star Wars combat when it came to the lightsaber. So they did that part of it, so there was a lot of teams. Avalanche was part of it. There was another game company that there was multiple games or I'm sorry, studios working on this one game for certain aspects of the whole collective of the game,
Yeah.
And then John, when just on paper it says that the Series X is more powerful. Yes, and it is, and it should be. However, you notice we still don't have all the capabilities unlocked. We are still waiting for a lot of the AI to be unlocked, and that's part of the thing that they have not allowed. So that's why when it comes to optimization, it's not there 100% yet. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background that we don't have answers to.
Yeah, and I kind of got to agree with John. Maybe I'm the oddball out in this situation, but I agree. I mean, we've heard this thing about the older systems holding back development, and I'm sorry, I still think that's true. And the reason I'm going to say it's true because if older consoles and older tech did not sort of stump or hold back the current gen per se, then why isn't every third party company puts games on the Nintendo Switch? The part of the biggest reason they don't put them on the Switch because they can't, because it doesn't. They have to make too many concessions to their game to get it to run and even remotely look or feel like their bigger brother, and that becomes a massive task for a team that got to take games that are built on high-end PC hardware to run on a console that's like one fraction of that power. And I still think the Xbox One is just too far back now. You're going to get the games to run, but what do you have to sacrifice to make it work?
That's funny. That is true. We need to move on from the one console. However, we need to also remember that PC, there are certain gamers that are still playing with less than what a one is, or a PS3. You know what I mean? So, or a PS4. I'm sorry.
But what kind of games are they largely cloud driven? Because I don't see anybody with a really old PC like running the latest Crisis or some of these games without it basically running like dog shit.
Well, resolution is scale, right? So you can scale resolution. You know how many people are playing what was it, PUBG, and they lower the resolution? So in the meantime, you're sitting there with all the bells and whistles because you got the badass gaming PC, right? All the bells and whistles, and you crouch down, you're hiding in that bush. Guess what? They can't do that. So that bush doesn't exist for them. So they lower the resolution. They have less grass. They have less obstacles. They have less, you know what I mean? So that's the whole thing, to go back to CD Projekt Red, right? With Cyberpunk. Those games were released of the 8th gen versions. They were more playable on the 9th gen versions, but they also got so bad that they weren't even capable to be running on the 8th gen versions to that point. I didn't have any issues with my OG Xbox One, but I mean, they pulled the PlayStation 4 version off the shelves, right? And they told them, go back and get your money. We screwed up. So, and it was those were originally designed for those consoles. Okay, now we're going to get the next gen upgrades for them, but it's unfortunately a broken game's a broken game. You can't put it out there to saying, okay, well, this is because of the console. No, the game wasn't set up to be played that way, and that was the problem. The game was out of the box broken for the console that it was designed for.
It goes right back to the arcade days. Remember when arcade games got ported to a 16-bit console?
Yep.
Yeah, they were arcade games in name, but if you looked at the difference between the arcade version and a lot of the home ports, it was like, Wow, is this even the same game? Like, there was so much missing. Some of the parallax scrolling and all those little features were gone from that game because they had to try to make it work on less memory and all those sorts of things. And the same still rings true. There is scalability. We get it. That part is,
Right.
it does work. But the question is, what sacrifices have to be made? And most importantly, are you okay with that? I mean, for me, I can live with some of it when it comes to the Switch because I know what the Switch is, and I'm just happy to play. Like, say, The Witcher 3, it runs well enough. It's not amazing, but it runs well enough and looks decent enough that it's playable and still fun. But yet, obviously, it's not the definitive version. But if I have the definitive version on my big console, that's fine. I'm going out playing on the road. I'm really not too worried about if it has a few less frames or what have you. And that's what makes it acceptable for me to do it on the Switch. But, on the big boy consoles, you're paying big money now. So I want these games to look and play the best. And, one of the narratives I'm still a little bit disappointed in, and I hope it starts to go away, is with the Xbox One X was already doing a lot of games at 4K and in some cases 4K 60. And yet there still seems to be a lot of games coming out with, all of these modes. Like, I thought we had enough power now that we wouldn't have now we got a ray tracing mode, a performance mode, and a graphics mode. I thought these consoles had enough power that they should be able to do it all in one. You should just have the ultimate mode
Well,
all the time.
the problem is when you add ray tracing, and this is what happens with technology, right? Technology gets so much better and faster and more powerful, but that also means that you have to add. Now you have the capabilities of adding more stuff like ray tracing, and which degrades the power that you had, because now the power that you would have had was running a 1080p screen, but now you're doing a 4K screen. Well, guess what? That eats up a lot of power, and that's where we also forget. And now, to double back on, who did I see? Dark Zone. Okay, most people are running with 4 CPUs on their physical CPUs. Most people are running, and this is via Steam, an NVIDIA GTX 1060. The primary display resolution is still 1920 by 1080. Multi-monitor desktop resolutions, they are at 1340 by 1080. So yet again, where are we at comparable to, if this is the majority of the people playing on Steam hardware, or playing on Steam using the Steam's hardware analytics, so yet again, where are we at? That's pretty much like a 1, so if they're still playing with that stuff, yes, it's different when it comes to PC versus consoles, but they're on a 1/4. It's just, it is what it is. They do need to move on from that, yes, but eventually they will. But I mean, who's really holding back? If they make the game to run on those consoles and utilize the advantages of the higher consoles, then what's the problem?
Right.
There shouldn't be a problem, and they're doing it for PC, and PC has multiple combinations where anything
I
could
know
be
the
switched out.
cloud gaming too is generally going to change some of that because you'll be able to get near perfect version using the cloud. We're seeing that right now, even on the Nintendo Switch, where they're selling high end games
Exactly.
that you can run basically using the cloud. I guess the only problem with that is when you're doing stuff cloud based, there's a lot of variables that could potentially go wrong. You lose connection, the game stops, or you're having lag issues, and all of a sudden your game is chugging and certain things like that. So it's not like you're downloading them natively to your console, correct?
Correct. And here's the funny part, right? I was on my let me say it correctly, my Xbox One X, right? And I was playing the medium. I was playing it via the cloud because obviously you can only play that on a series console. So, and so it's possible to play, those kind of games, but at least with the medium, they said you cannot play it on, with the way our game is designed, you cannot play it on last gen hardware. You have to play it on new gen hardware, and that's where, stuff like the cloud has a benefit for those older consoles. Or what if you're on your TV? Your TV can't handle this stuff, so you're able to yet again stream it, and you're still playing from the new gen consoles, but not directly. Here's the other part, and this is the one thing I keep on bringing up that everybody forgets. How do you pirate a game like that? You can't.
Right.
But if everybody is pirating, everybody's cheating, there will always be a way to cheat via a server without actually being connected to a server, but it's less likely because more people don't want to go through the hassle of that or don't know how to. And it's unfortunately it's going to push more of the industry that way. And with the logistics of getting hardware out there, it's already pushing stuff that way. So it's going to be one of those things. And Emmanuel, I've said the same thing before, where we need to have something like a localized Roku or a Ultra Chromecast plug-in, so that way you would have your mini localized hardware where you would stream and use the cloud at the same, or I'm sorry, streaming through the cloud and use your localized hardware to keep your points connected, rights. You know what I mean? Something to bring your controller and TV screen and synchronize it a little bit better. I know Phil and Jason Ronald have also brought that up too. Not directly, but they've mentioned stuff when it comes to the network and trying to localize / with the cloud.
Nice. Well, any which way you dice it, guys, it is a great time to be in gaming right now because there's so many ways to play. There's so many different options for gamers. As Dark Zone said earlier in the chat, he's got all the consoles. Great. Like he said, when you have all the consoles, the best thing is you can never really be fully invested in the console war type of stuff because you got the consoles. You can play whatever game you want. You're not leaving yourself out. I mean, I get it. Some people, they choose, and I'm not here to, if you just want one console that suits you best, that's fine. But it's the worst thing I'd say when it comes down to some of this console stuff is the person that's criticizing the other console or the games on said console when they don't own one, have never played those titles. It's kind of, it's pretty stupid, right? It's just, it's so stupid. It's
a Twitter game. That's what they're doing. They're just playing for clout as opposed to playing the actual game or enjoying life.
Absolutely.
How can I be better than you?
Halo Infinite is crap. Did you play it? No. Why is it crap? I don't know, because it looks like shit. But did you play it? No. Do you have an Xbox? No. Okay. Conversation's over. Go back to your troll hole. Troll.
Yeah, but and that's the thing. We're giving the wrong people clout, or not even clout. We're giving them attention. You know what I mean? So
totally. Well, I my timeline is great these days. I blocked most of the people that for fucking doing that shit and constantly retweeting other people. If they weren't at it themselves, they're constantly liking and retweeting, and it would show up on my timeline. It's like I got no time for that crap, man. Like that's just horse shit. So yeah. Like what you like, play what you like, just have fun.
Yeah, we should be sharing the enjoyment of games, not downing others' enjoyment of games.
Absolutely. Kids got a Series S for Christmas. Well, good on them. That's a fucking awesome Christmas gift. God damn it. Nothing wrong with it. Don't be poking fun at them because they got an S. I mean, for heck, if I got a small kid for as young as some of the ones that were getting a console Christmas, I'd rather them have a fucking S. You know why? So they don't stick a sandwich or something stupid in my Series X and bust it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, give them the digital one. There's no way they can fuck up the discs.
Yeah, that's
pretty
true.
simple. So that's actually the common sense thing. I bet you back in the 90s, dads were always wishing, like, man, I wish we had digital back then. Kids wouldn't have busted every second game that they bought. Dad, my Call of Duty game was scratched again.
No, I mean, you know how many times, even with DVDs, it doesn't have to be console games, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even at DVDs, like for the longest time, I'm like, don't touch the disc. There's a digital content on there. Just go to Voodoo, go to this or go to that, and then play the game. We have like 3 different spots where you can play the same game, Plex, or not play the game. I'm sorry, play the movie. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't bring out the disc. I know we bought the disc, and it's like I like, yet again, like the new Phenomics thing. I like physical when it comes to movies and stuff like that. I like and that's with how we are down here with hurricanes and power outages.
Yeah.
I mean, this last time happened, we lucked out and it went up. It hit Wilmy Hood. Wilmy was able to pop in his movies, and him and his wife were able to watch movies because they had no power, or they had power. They had no service for some reason.
Yeah.
So I have no idea if they have power on a generator, which I'm assuming that's why they had power. But they were able to watch TV and watch movies and go from there. They couldn't do anything else, but they were still able to do that. And that's the main thing, is having the ability of that. But at the same time, you scratch a disc, it's all gone. I've got the Wolverine game.
Because they bring up a great point. Because if it ever came to a point where you were up without sensible power or your internet for a month, and you can't log into shit, well, then you basically can't play shit. You might as well go back and play old ancient board games, But at least if you got, say, like the Nintendo Switch, most of their games are on the cartridge or those little SD cards, and they don't require logins, a lot of the ones. So there you go. You can still play your games. And that's why I have all the movies that I really like. I have them on physical media because, one, they look great. They sound great. I never got to worry about digital distortion based on my connection or drops thereof. And like I said, if the power goes out, well, I guess not the power, but I don't need the internet, right? I can just pop in my shit and away you go.
And that's the thing. It's just enjoying what you enjoy and being able to do so. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But Dark Souls says it best. Life is way too short to be getting mad at plastic. You couldn't said any better. Love what you love, play what you like, and just have fun. That's what gaming is about. We all share. That's the same. At the end of the day, no matter what consoles you run, we all share the same passion, and that's for gaming, right? And it's just some people, they build channels on this nonsense. Some people, they build personas on this stuff. And I'm not here to disgruntle whatever. Do what you do, I guess. But I know how I'm going to run things, and I try to run things even keel. Anybody knows me knows that I'm primarily an Xbox guy. And that's just because I love Xbox. I love the controller. I love the online. I love my friends that I've made through Xbox. I like their games better personally because I like Gears of War and I like Forza and I like Halo. And I just like them better than I like the story-based narrative stuff that's on PlayStation. Nothing wrong with that either. I love God of War. I love Uncharted. Those games are amazing. But, at the end of the day, some of those guys who criticize the Xbox community, you go and look at their profiles and you'll see that they might own most of those games that are Game of the Year or highly touted. But then you look at their completion rates. Very few of them have beaten the games. And then when you see them online, what are they playing? Anything but. They're playing Fortnite and NBA 2K21 or something like that. And you're going to go, yeah, so you got this powerful console and you brag about all your exclusives, but at the end of the day, you play them for 10% of the time, and then you basically just go and play the other games. I mean, whatever floats your boat, but at the same time, you can't sit back and criticize Xbox guys when that's the kind of crap that you're pulling, right?
See, and that's the other thing too, is back in the day, it didn't really, I mean, yeah, there were those, on the TV and media, it was the console wars, but it was for our dollars, not for us giving those companies the clout that they didn't ask for. You know what I mean? So when it comes to all that, we were all Nintendo fanboys at one point in time. We were all Genesis fanboys when it came to Nintendo, the Sega. Sony comes out with a PlayStation, and we all shifted over to PlayStation. So we were all fanboys of each console in each era for whatever reasons we wanted. I went back. I went to the Dreamcast. I was going back and forth depending on what games we had between Sony and Dreamcast. And you had Nintendo 64. We're still playing those, and it didn't matter. You know what I mean? We had fun playing those games, and whoever had whatever console at the time before, because we would also organize. Okay, well, this one I'm getting first. So if you want to get this other one, by the time you get around to it, you can get that one. So we would try to all offset what we had so we could all play everything.
Yeah.
or if it was something, because I mean, we all got the PlayStation. You know what I mean? So when it came out,
Brother,
we all got the
I've
PlayStation.
had almost every console you can think of, with the exception of some of the oddities. I never had an Atari Jaguar. I never had a Panasonic 3DO. I never had the turbo graphics of all the 16 bits, but it wasn't before the lack of I didn't want one. I only had so much money to go around. You can only play so many games. But
Right.
when it comes to Nintendo and Sega, I've owned everything that they've had. When it comes to PlayStation, I've owned every single PlayStation with the exception of the original PlayStation, and simply because I was a Sega guy and I didn't know what the hell a PlayStation really was at the time. It was kind of like, what is this? I never really I knew Sony was an entertainment, but they weren't proven at the time, right? So I went with Sega Saturn. I loved the Saturn for the most part, but I was burned out on that, with the way that they handled that amazing console. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that one brings back some nightmares. And that was a setup to failure for Dreamcast. That's a large reason why Dreamcast never got the respect it was due, because of fucking the way that Sega handled business during the Saturn era. They
Wasn't
burned
this
a lot of third party relationships. They burned a lot of retailers. It was a debacle, man. And if you read the book, The Console Wars, it's all there for you. It's like you can see the writing on the wall. And that was during a generation where people weren't as well informed. You didn't have much to go on other than magazines and stuff and misinformation, because there was no internet. You really couldn't read a lot about stuff. So you basically, you had to deal with what you had.
Yeah, and you were 1 to 2 months behind on what was
Yeah.
the upcoming stuff going on, because you were pretty, if they got the information late to press, and by the time they printed it and pushed it out, you were a month behind. If they got it early to press, you were 2 months behind. So it was one of those things that by the time you got to you didn't have the latest and greatest information like we have now. I mean, everything we do now is instantaneous. So as soon as somebody posts something, even though it's false, it's everywhere. Everybody knows about it, and it's and unfortunately this way it's also misconstrued, because I'm still seeing people posting something that somebody posted in 2015 that has no relevance now, and people are still spreading it around a second time around. Okay, not a
Yeah.
second time, a third time around this
Right.
year.
Right.
It's like
Exactly. People don't read, man. They don't read. They
no
don't look at dates. Nothing. It's like,
knee jerk reaction. It's like, oh, look at this. And it's like, that has
yeah,
nothing to
buddy. You
do
know
with
how old that
anything.
fucking article is? It's not even relevant anymore. Why are you bringing that up? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. But certainly the game industry has changed. The way we consume games has changed, and it is just the way it is. It's a far different beast than it was back in the Sega Nintendo era, when it was largely two guys going head to head with all that stuff. And now it's just insane. And I'm glad they're all here, and I'm glad that all three companies are thriving in different areas and bringing something different to the table.
But we need those console wars that they had back then. Those are the wars we need, where they're fighting for us.
Yeah,
not us fighting over them.
Exactly. Xbox One needs to die off. Well, I'm pretty sure it will eventually. I think it's heading that way. You don't see a lot of games getting a whole lot of promotion for Xbox One now.
I mean, Xbox One's got a lot of good games. I mean, you look at Rise, Son of Rome. Out the bat, that was a great game. You look at what was that zombie game?
Dead Rising 3?
Rising 3. Yeah, that was a great game. I still haven't beaten it, but it's a great game. And those were launch titles. Now you look at Fonz brought it up, and I know we've talked about it before, but right now Fonz is getting all the credit, which it's fine because he's the most recent to bring it up, and people are going into it.
Yeah,
it's the shit. I just forgot the name of it. You know what it is? The Mel Gibson, the Mel Gibson movie, the post-apocalyptic one that just came out.
Mad Max.
Mad Max. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, God. Mad Max. That came out. That was like, it dropped down to like $5 at one point in time. I don't know if it's still at $5 or 20, but still,
it's a great game.
It's a great game, and it's still holding up. And that's
there's a studio that Microsoft should get, Avalanche. They make some really good stuff.
Yes. Yeah, that would be a
And
good
they've
one.
been sort of independent. They've been doing games all over the board. I don't think anybody has them locked under, mostly for Warner Brothers, but nobody really has them under lock, I don't think.
No, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but that would be a good one to get. There's so many studios out there that
Yeah.
do a lot of everything that would be good as a support studio.
Yep.
And maybe even because they, just like Ninja Theory, right? They did a little bit of everything. They could be also, they could also come out with their own vision because they've done a little bit of everything and they've learned. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you're a master of none.
Yep.
You eventually become a master of what you know, and it's not that you're a master of none. You know of everything. You got a jack of all trades, and you put it all together better than a master of one. Okay, so
Yes,
when you do
absolutely.
all that, you can do it all. So
All right.
getting games like studios like that to put a game out, hey, you never know.
Well, anyway, definitely been well over an hour longer than I intended. I wasn't even intending to do a podcast tonight, but here we are, me and Dread hanging out, shooting the beans, and having a great time. Chat's been absolutely amazing. Each and every one of you, all the super chats, everybody that showed up, all the new faces in the house. Good to see some new names to our longtime viewers. Been a great year. Thanks for your support all along the way. You guys are absolutely dynamite. Hope to see you back in 2022. I want to wish everybody an amazing New Year's Eve. Hopefully everybody stays safe, has fun, can spend it with some close loved ones if all of the COVID rules haven't got everything completely screwed. Just be healthy, be thankful for what you've got, and not about the stuff you don't. And we're all and all that good stuff. And we'll see you back here in 2022. Don't forget, guys, there will be Good Morning Xbox on Sunday morning, hopefully, unless my panel is all hung over or something, which is a possibility. And yes, I am the master of farting on a podcast. That is true. I've been kind of known for that now. I hope as long as I don't shit my pants during a podcast, we should be okay. That would be pretty gross and kind of funny all at the same time. And but no, it's been a good year. You guys have a great New Year's. Hope to see you back here for Good Morning Xbox on Sunday. That would be the 2nd. And like I said earlier, if you missed it, we have a phenomenal guest who certainly deserves your support to come out and say hello. It would be Pope Art. Some of you might recall him as Xbox Pope. He's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about his designs and how he draws inspiration and some of the works he's done, some of the works he may have upcoming, his collaborations, all that good stuff, and whatever other potential topics we may have. It should be a great, great podcast. Look forward to having him there. But until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Have a happy New Year. Mr. Dreadpool, great that you could pop on here and be with me tonight. It was a pleasant surprise. Always good to have you. Let people know what's happening with you, where they can check out any of your content. And I'll see you back here soon and definitely on Xbox.
Yes. So most importantly, thank you all for showing up for Noof Show and my surprise pop in. This wasn't planned. Obviously, I just said, hey, let me see if you want somebody to join you, so appreciate the acceptance. And like I said, you guys have a great new year. Enjoy, be safe out there with whatever you plan on doing. Don't let them, don't do any stupid things, but do the good, stupid things, make it memorable. Those are always the fun things that you need to do. Make them memorable in a good way. No GBTB tomorrow night. We'll be returning the following. And I'm going to try to get something happen by Thursday for Breaking Bread with Dread. If not, I'll just probably post a little end of the year recap, thanking everybody, and then what the future possibly holds, or at least the plans are. And during this time, I'm also on vacation. I'm still working, even though I'm on vacation. That doesn't make sense, but one of those things, right?
Don't work too hard.
Yeah, when work needs you, you take care of it, and that way they take care of you, right? So I'll be streaming off and on. So if you guys see something, I appreciate you guys stopping in, or after the fact, as New says, even for 1 minute, that's more than enough. Appreciate you taking the time just to check it out.
Sure do. Yeah.
And I've been streaming at 1440p, and I know a lot of people, it's 1440p 60, and I know a lot of people have been impressed with it. So maybe check it out. Maybe it'll impress you. I can't say my gameplay would always impress you, but sometimes I'm on the top, sometimes I'm on the bottom. A lot of times I'm just mixing around in the middle. So thank you again. Just look up linktree.com/Dreadpool. It's got all the links to everything. Thank you.
And we will be back here next Tuesday night with an official first episode of Gaming After Dark for 2022. Should be a fun time as always. Our usual suspects will be back. If you missed last week's episode, you should definitely go back and check it out because the last part of the show was basically a 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus Tony Baloney went up against Safe House Sam and I think it was a Titan Drago. And it was a crazy segment that had people in tears, maybe even a little bit scared. It was pretty nuts. So go check it out. Even if you got to skip through to that part, and let me know if you enjoyed it because it was a lot of fun. It was great fun for us to do that. Outside of that, guys, that's it for me. You know where to find me, and find me on Xbox, Noof Nukem, pretty much everywhere. And if you had questions about Community Game Night, here's how it works, and it's this simple. Add me. I'm literally the same name as my channel, Noof Nukem. On Xbox, add me there, and it's that simple. From there, you can get contacts for the other guys who run the game nights as well. But once we start game night, we let you know, usually several days in advance, sometimes a week in advance, what games we're playing. So we try to get everybody to get the game downloaded and updated. And God knows if it's a Call of Duty game that we're doing, you're in for a real treat because you literally have to basically do that game days in advance, make sure all the downloads are done. And that's that simple. Basically, we start up the game. I open a party. It's an open party. You jump right in, whether you know me or not. You say, hey, man, I'm here to play game night. Boom, we welcome you. Rest is history. We get her going. And it's that easy. People seem to be very hesitant about jumping in sometimes. It's kind of like the party's open. Game chats or game night is ready. Just jump in. You don't need an invitation. It's open. And as soon as that come in, you chat. We do hope that you have a microphone, hopefully, because it makes it a lot more interactive and you can communicate and chat, especially in games that require a lot of teamwork. That is kind of essential. But outside of that, that's how easy it is. Follow me on Twitter for all the rest of the information. And like I said, guys, we'll see you back here soon. Lloyd C. dropping $9.99 in the super chat before we get out of here. There's no comments or anything there. He just drops it. So thank you, Lloyd. That's a fantastic contribution. And thank you, everybody. Like I said, you guys are amazing. So have yourself a great night. And most importantly, have a happy new year. We will see you back here in 2022. Game on. Boom, boom, kaboom. Leaving the room, baby.
Happy gaming.
Have a good night, Dread.
Good night.
Peace out, everybody.